Hey YouTube, today I'm going to be taking a look at a really unusual guitar. This is an Aria Pro RS Classic, and this was made in the mid to late 80s by Matsumoku in Japan. This was part of the Japanese era of the Aria Pro and very near the end of that factory. And this is one I got on eBay. And as you can see, I've got it disassembled. I bought it just before I moved, and so I've been cleaning on it and so forth, but as you can see, haven't put it back together, and I'm very interested to see how it sounds. The body was so crusty, and you can still see there that there's still some crust, particularly in here. And I learned from the seller that it belonged to somebody that had, back in the day, this was their guitar for their band, and they basically toured by riding the boxcar circuit. And so this was, you know, I can imagine this being thrown into the back of moving train cars and stuff, and you know, they just kind of did an itinerant tour. And so very cool past, and super grungy guitar, but very interested to see how it all comes together once I've finished doing all the cleanup, and I've been dressing the frets, leveling, polishing, oiling, waxing, all of this stuff. And underneath it all, despite the life that this has lived, this has got a beautiful like cream metallic paint job on it that you really couldn't tell. I didn't know if I was going to have to resurface it when I bought it because it was so crusty, but it cleaned up remarkably well. So I'm going to take you through what I've done to it and what I'm planning to do to it, and hopefully by the end of this we will have a playable guitar, so stay tuned. So of course, one of the first things I've done is just clean it. This thing needed a lot of cleaning, and you know, with it being, this wasn't just something I could wipe away. This was decades of hardened crust, and so I used guitar polish and very carefully with very high grit sandpaper did wet sanding, because this was, I mean, it had like soaked into the outer layer and really needed to be smoothed. But with like a 2000 grit sandpaper and some polish, and I got it all worked down, and it's still not 100% there. I still got some more to do around here and so forth, but compared to what it was, it is a huge difference. Now, I haven't started yet, but long term, my philosophy on damages like this, you have like this impact damage there, and there's a good bit of this, is to relic it in the sense of smooth it and protect it, typically either with a clear coat or wax, depending on the circumstance and what I'm doing exactly with it. But there's a number of these, and you know, considering what this went through, this is in actually quite good shape. There again, there's some finish damage and so forth. There is a little crack that is working right here, and it goes partially about a ½ inch into the body, but it's not enough to make any, you know, structural issues. And I can soak that, soak a tiny bit of the really super thin fast set glue in there, and that will take care of that. But otherwise, it's mainly at this point going to be a matter of, you know, just cleaning it, waxing it up. Of course, I've been working on, it's the fretboard, it was really crusty, but it really looks quite nice. And the neck is in remarkable shape. There's no damage I could see on the neck. You know, I mean, you have minor chips and stuff, but no structural damage. And, you know, the tip of the headstock has got a little bit of damage, but it's all, from what I can see, just finish damage. Now, something that I'm going to have to take care of right there, this button is missing. It looks like it came out and they just replaced it with this wacky little system there, but I'll have to clean all that up and fix that. Now, I'm also going to get in here and do shielding and make sure that the shielding is all good. That you can use copper tape. I have some great StewMac paint. It just hasn't made it to my new house yet. It's in one of my boxes. So for the time being, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to the old standard of the copper tape and tape the recesses in there, clean everything out. I think, you know, I'm going to leave, they've got this like hand-painted deal on the pickups. I think I'm just going to leave that because it just adds character to it, and you know, it'd be easy to remove. It looks like just acrylic paint, so it'd be easy to remove otherwise. But I've checked everything and there's no damage up here. Again, there's that little bit of top damage, but it doesn't go all the way through, especially up here. It's just a tiny little bit. But this guitar was probably dropped significantly multiple times. There's some other kind of paint on here. It looks like it traded paint with something, and there's all sorts of little impact damage, but considering what this has been through, this is in remarkably good shape. So, oh yeah, and you can see the impact damage there too, where it, you know, this has taken some serious hits, but it's a survivor. It has made it through. So overall, you know, very impressed with the condition of this. Another thing that I'm going to be doing to it, and I don't have my setup yet. I've got a garage. I just haven't got the time and money to renovate it yet into, I'm going to make a full studio, full shop, but I don't have that yet, so I'm not going to do the work on camera at this point. But the other thing I'm going to do is replace this originally had, and I will probably clean this up and just piece it to sell it by itself, a Floyd Rose bridge there, and these are cool. A lot of people swear by them. I just don't care for them. It's just not my style. I find them awkward to use, and it's just they're not my thing. So I'm going to replace it, which is going to require a little bit of drilling. I'm going to put in a 6-pole Strat style in there. And the other thing is the other hardware on it was gold, and the bridge was black, so I'm going to go with the gold. And I've got a nice Music Lily Pro bridge assembly. Otherwise, I've got my bins of parts that came off it and screws and everything. And so mostly it's going to be clean up, oil, and check everything as I put it back together once I've done my few little things to it with the tape and cleaning up the pickups and so forth. So at this point I'm going to get to work on it, and presumably in the next cut we will have a playable guitar here. Alright, it's back together, and it's still got some issues that I'm going to have to work out, but it is playing. It's all back together. And so the issues that I still need to work out, the middle pickup is kind of cutting in and out, and when I was testing it and checking out the electronics, it was working some and not others, so I need to work on that some more. The knobs are scratchy, and so I need to get, I don't have my bottle here, so I'm just going to need to get a new bottle of electrical contact cleaner. And best thing if you have scratchy knobs is, first thing is to pull the back panel off and spray some of that contact cleaner in there. I mean, first thing is just to run it back and forth. Sometimes it just clears up if it's just been sitting a little while. This has got a lot of scratch to it, so I'm going to do some more cleaning back there. Alright, so you can see in there that I've got not completely shielded yet. I am going to wait and use the paint on the surfaces that are closer there, just in case. You don't want, when you're doing the conductive tape in here, which this didn't have any shielding on the cavity. It does have the shielding on the back of the plate, but it did not have any shielding in the cavity. And the thing that be careful about is that when this conductive tape doesn't touch anything hot. And that you can cause shorts, and you can cause all sorts of bugs in the system. And so you just have to be very careful with it, and you know, it's not rocket science, but you don't want it touching anything. And so I've got the cavity pretty well lined, and the other thing is you do not want to put this in the jack and in the little hole there with the jack. I've had issues where if it touches up against it, and it'll short out. If you do have any situation where you're worried that something might be touching, you can also come back with some of the just regular electrical tape to provide insulation. But and you see I put all 5 of the springs on there. How many springs you put on there is completely up to you. I don't use a lot of tremolo vibrato in my music, and so I have it set stiff. That gives you better tuning stability. And so there's the new bridge on there, and I only put 2 of the screws in. Oh hey buddy. I only put 2 of the screws in because 6 is like really overkill. You really don't need that. It's not like it's pulling straight up, it's pulling at an angle, and I didn't want to, with the cracks being towards the poles here, I didn't want to do too much work on there. I drilled out the holes, and you got to make sure that the drill bit that you're using is you know, just the tiniest bit smaller than the teeth on the screws. You don't want to, if you don't drill it out, you're much more likely to crack the wood. If you drill out too much, it's not going to grip enough. So you got to get just the right one. But I got it all in there and set in, and you know, I got the height level raised. I intonated, which is a matter of getting your open notes to match the 12s, match the octaves, and so I got all that set with the intonation. Got a new set of strings on there, of course, and you can see there the head, and it's very nice. The tuners are very nice. They're branded with the Aria Pro 2. A lot of stuff on here is branded with that. You can see the back plate there. And so, you know, another thing that I did was, it's not perfect, but I used a set of clamps to get in there and push and try to flatten this out, and so it's not as messed up anymore. It's a little flatter. Another thing, I've still got to put the new button on there, but otherwise it's all ready to go. And the other thing, let me plug in. Watch out, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh no, the poor buddy. The other thing is I'm getting a lot of jack noise here. You know, all that popping, everything. Replacing a jack is super easy. I've got a video on it. It's just 2 wires, very easy, basic soldering. And with a side jack like this, you can just pull the assembly out. You don't. It's very easy to do. So I'm going to put a new jack in there, and let me see if I can get some of the scratch. See, it's already better. When I first plugged it in, when I was testing it out, this was super scratchy. And even the scratchiness has gone down. Now, one mystery that I still have to figure out is this actually has push-pulls on it, but I don't know why. Because, you know, generally speaking, my experience, the only kind of push-pulls that I've ever installed are for splitters, for humbuckers. But this with the single coils, I'm not sure if it does a out of phase issue or what, I'm not sure. But I've been trying to figure out, you know, what exactly is going on, and I'm not 100% sure. The major problem I'm having right now, so there's on the neck, is the middle pickup is just not making any sound. So right now it's basically just working as a top and bottom, and you can't mix, so it's very limited at the moment. I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on. I know this works because, you know, when I was testing it and tapping the poles, it would cut in and out. And so there's got to be some sort of wire that's not, it's either shorting out into something else, or a wire is just loose and not making a connection. But that's just something I haven't sleuthed yet. I wanted to get it together and just get it basically playable to begin with here. All right. Oh, yeah, you hear that? Every little bump. Ooh, super scratchy. So definitely going to replace that. The tonal characteristic of these are very peculiar. It's got, it reminds me of the MFD pickups by G&L, and it might be kind of riffing off of that design because it's got the individual poles, you can raise and lower them. It seems to be a little bit fatter, and the backing magnets, even the tonal characteristics are similar. It's very spanky, I guess is a way to put it. Like, look at the a lot of jangle, a lot of high end. That's on the bridge. This is on the neck. So, you know, right now, again, I'm real limited. I can't get the middle mixed in, but that's just going to take some more work. But you hear that? It's I don't know how to describe it exactly. It's like spanky. It's very sharp attacks. Mostly on the bridge pickup, much more so, but even with the neck. Yeah, definitely gonna have to replace that jack. This guitar strikes me as being primarily intended for high gain, distortion, and effects, and that sort of thing. Just the style, the general, fact that came with Floyd Rose. So this is just with the overdrive on the Black Star 50R. think this is a great start. You know, everything is it's playing really nicely. The main issue going forward is figuring out, sleuthing what's going on with that middle pickup and getting that all figured out. But otherwise, this is a really cool vintage guitar that just plays fantastic. I'm getting some really cool tones. These pickups are really unusual. It's not the typical Strat pickups. I'm really interested to see how it sounds with the middle working and figure out what the heck these push-pulls are. But overall, as a project, this is shaping up really nicely. So check back in with me. I'll do another follow-up on this after I've done some more work to it. And I've got lots of cool videos on the channel. I've got all sorts of different restoration videos, reviews, and instructionals, and all sorts of stuff. So take a look at the channel. And as always, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.